So I just received my hitch for my Ford Transit van, right there, from eTrailer. And here's what came in the box. It's the hitch, a few self-tapping bolts, a few carriage bolts, some different washers, some self-threaders here for the bolts to hold them in place, and an instruction set that has 5 steps. I love that. They didn't batter me with all kinds of 40 pages of disclaimers and such. So let's install this thing. All right, I'm under the van, and the kit came with these self-tapping screws, heavy bolts that go into the Ford Transit. Neat thing about the Ford Transit is it comes ready for a receiver hitch, so all the holes are there. It's a bolt-on thing. All you really need that's a special tool is a torque wrench. I don't have a torque wrench, so I'll be driving this over to a friend's house later and we'll torque the bolts on to 75 pounds like they want. But you can see up here on the frame, there's these 2 holes here, and they have a sort of a soft core, I don't know if it's brass or what it is, lining inside that hole that's made to be tapped. And then there's a hole back here in the frame where the nut and the bolt will go through later. But I've got my Craftsman. This is an impact driver. Craftsman's my favorite line right now. They're super lightweight. Yeah, if you decide to get into battery tools, my suggestion is you find one brand that's been around a long time, buy into it, and that way you might pay a little bit more money than something online that's super cheap, but you'll always have tools that you can purchase and repurchase. You can always get batteries for them, things like that. Craftsman, DeWalt, Hilti, Makita, any of the big brands have been around. I like this Craftsman. This is an impact driver, so it'll do some light mechanical impact work, but it drives the screw with 2 fingers. So it's a little bit more than just a normal drill driver, but you can hear it. It'll really tap a screw into some wood, or it'll help you with some mechanical work. So basically, we take these self tappers on the Ford Transit, and these holes right here, you can just get them started a little bit there, and then drive it on in. Okay, so that's tapped that hole then. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and then we'll go on to the next step, which is installing the nuts, bolts, and washers, and I'll see if there's some way to get this thing lifted up into place without it crashing down on me. Be right back. Alright, the kit also came with these carriage bolts here that'll sit down into a square washer with a square hole cut out for that carriage to fit on top of the frame, and this will poke down through the frame, and then underneath that will be a nice big washer with some teeth on it and a nut to hold it all in place. The problem would be if you drop this down through the frame when you're trying to push everything up in there, this could fall up out of the frame. So they have these feed wires, which are pretty cool. You actually just thread this on to the end of the carriage bolt like this, and then you can run this wire down through there, and you can hold it, and you can run this through the receiver itself and hold it and pull that bolt down into place the whole time. So we will go ahead and mount these onto the frame rail, and then I'm going to figure out with my jack some way to lift this hitch up into place. It's pretty heavy, and I don't know if I can hold it there while I'm putting these nuts and bolts on there, but we'll figure it out. So see you in a minute. All right, we're back under here, and I've got my 2 carriage bolts with the wire feeds, and there's the hole right there that we need to get into there with. And so basically, this goes up on top in there, and this travels down through it. So we got to run the wire through this first, like that, and then we can feed the wire. If we can get it here. Is through there, and this will pull everything into place for us, and that way when we're lifting that big old frame up on here, we can hold that wire down and it won't pull out. So do the other one real quick. So my phone ran out when I was mounting that hitch up in place. What I did is I used this stool right here. This is an old tractor bench stool that I have in my front fork. and I just put the hitch on one side of that and pried it up. The hitch is lighter than I thought it would be, so it didn't actually need a jack or anything like that to hold it in place. That part's missing, so what will happen is you'll see me kind of with it in place. What I did is just pried it up and just got a few of the bolts started, and that held it in place so I could tighten them on up. So sorry about that. Here goes the rest. All right. Well, that didn't take but, I don't know, 10 minutes once I figured out to get the stool underneath there and hold it up on one side. It's light enough to just pry it up like you saw me do. So now the last step is really to get it over to a mechanic's place that has a torque wrench and let him torque that on there for me. I think it's 75 pounds each that they want on there. And then here in about a month or two, I'll check it again, make sure they're still torqued to spec. Other than that, next thing I'll do is put the trailer lights mount on here, and we'll be ready to pull my smoker to competitions. Thanks for watching.